In this video, we're gonna go over the top 4 knots we believe every inshore saltwater angler should know. We're gonna talk about some specialty knots at the end, but Capt Mike is gonna start with just some easy knots that can apply to everything.
The basic knot that I like to tie is the fisherman knot. Some people call it the cinch knot. This knot is quick and fast. It's easy to learn. You have more time fishing than tying knots. So what you do, you take the hook, come through the eye of the hook, and I just twist the lure, hook, whatever you're using, and then I keep this at the top of it. You want to keep that loop right at the top of the hook. If you don't, it's going to go through the bottom of the hook and mess you up. So I come through one time, come back through, pull it tight like this, and then cinch it down, just like that. Get your clippers and clip this off and you're good to go. That knot, snatch anything out the bay or ocean or whatever with it. That is a cinch knot, and that is the easiest knot to do fast, real quick. On my charters, we have to hurry up and do it real quick. People breaking off, and that's the easiest knot you can learn. Take that with you. The knot number 2 is a uni knot. This is a Uni-to-Uni. If you're using leader and you're using braid, instead of using swivel, this is the knot you want to learn how to tie right here. What I do is you get your braid and you get your leader and you overlap them like that. Start on one end. So I start with the leader. Make you a loop, just like that, and keep it on the braid and just go around it. Some people say 5 times, 2 times. I think the more the better. I like to do mine at least 5 or 6 times. Get a good cinch on it, come around it, and then you just pull that tight. That's one end. And then come on the other end, you do the same thing. Make a loop, just like that. Take the braid and come around the leader. I like to go around at least 6 or 7 times. And then take it, cinch it tight, see that? And then you pull the 2 together. There you go right there. You cut off the tags. And you want to learn this knot so you don't have to use a swivel. You don't want to be that guy fishing with a swivel. You're going to probably get made fun of on the boat. So you learn how to do this right here, the Uni-to-Uni, but that's the second knot we're teaching you today.
All right, so now to the specialty knots. First one is this loop knot. This has an advantage when you're using lures that need some extra motion in the water. This is a jerk style lure. It basically darts all around, and really the more erratic motion it has, the more strikes you're gonna get. And the good news, it's actually super quick to tie as well, and you can do it in about 15 seconds with a little bit of practice. So I'm gonna tie it with this skinny lipper, and this is as if I'm wade fishing. It's that easy. You can tie it, just got the rod in one hand, and before you do anything, you make an overhand loop knot with the line, right? The most basic of all knots. Keep it at about the size of like a regular M&M or so. And now we take the tag in through the eye of the lure, and we're gonna take this tag in through that loop we just made, and then get that loop right next to the eye, but keep it intact. And I shrink it down just a little bit further, and with my hand on the lure, I pinch it down. So now I have the tag in coming up. So that tag in, I basically just go around the main line 2 times. You can go more, but 2 is plenty. And then I take that tag in back through that initial loop we created. So hopefully you can see that, and I'll pull it tight. So the final step here is just to cut the tag, and you'll see, again, a reason why I especially like this loop knot. There, of course, are many others out there. The cool thing about this one in particular is that the tag in is pointed back towards the lure. That'll help make sure that we get as few snags as possible. There's a lot of floating grass and debris in the water, and having that tag in pointed back towards the lure will just help make sure that you don't have some unfortunate snags. So if you're using lures, highly recommend getting comfortable with this knot. And obviously I was slowing it down for the video. Again, maybe 15 seconds, you can tie this thing, super simple, even while wade fishing. So last, we're gonna talk about a braid-to-leader knot. It's a specialty knot. It's called the FG knot. As you can see, it is incredibly slim. There is not gonna be a knot that is slimmer. It's literally a Chinese finger trap on the leader line. It's shockingly strong. It's about 20%, really 20 to 25% stronger than the double uni knot that we learned before. It obviously takes longer, right? Pros and cons, but if you have time and if you really want to maximize your strength and minimize the diameter, this will cast through your rod guides incredibly well compared to this uni knot, which, as you can see, is probably 3 times wider, which will have obviously a lot of impacts on the rod guide. So if you want to learn the strongest knot, let me show you a quick demonstration of the fastest way I've found to tie the FG. So now it's time to tie the FG knot. This is the tension method, which is by far the quickest I've ever found. This is the pinky style, which again is super easy. All you need is a pinky, obviously a rod, and a leader line and your braid line. So number one is we need to have the rod somewhere where we can let gravity be the tension. If you're in a boat, a rod holder is the obvious choice. If you're on a dock, you can lean it over against something. If you're in a kayak, I just lean it on the ground. If I'm wading, I keep the rod in my armpit. And so step number one is have the rod somewhere where you can lean it, get some tension. And now we're going to get the braid and just do about 4 wraps around your pinky. And so now with our pinky and the rod aimed away from us, we can have just, all we need is a little bit of tension. We can have slight tension on the braid, and that makes tying this knot so much easier. All you need to learn is just one basic move and just keep doing it over and over again. If you struggle to tie this, that means you just haven't learned the one move, and once you learn it, you'll nail it. So take the leader over the braid, and we're gonna go around it, away from us, pull it tight, right? And by doing that, that created a coil of braid around the leader. Next one, we're gonna do the same move, but we're gonna go towards us in relation to the leader. Pull it tight. And now that formed 2 coils right next to one another. And then we do that same sequence over and over again, a total of about 18 times is what I normally use. Now we're gonna go back again, away 7, towards me 8, and just keep doing that. And the benefit of this method is that it's packing those coils right next to one another on an even method. This is gonna have the most consistently strong FG knot, really the most consistently strong line to leader knot that I've ever seen. I've tested a ton of knots, and this one continually outperforms the others. I kind of lost count, but just looking at the coils, that's gonna be about 18. If you do 16, that's fine. If you do 22, that's okay. The key though is just to make sure that they're nice and uniform, and that is just a pretty looking knot. So now that we have our coils, we're just gonna pin them with our finger and take the line off of our pinky. All right, so now that we have the coils packed, we need to lock them in place. And we do that with a half hitch, and really a series of half hitches. So the half hitch, you take the braid, tag in, you go around, and then go through, and this is just, it was basically like a super basic knot, and that what that does is it packs it down. So, and it's nice to still have the tension on the line, so you can see that it's packed down. I now make it tight. So now I can basically look at the knot, everything looks cool, everything is pretty uniform. And now we do 2 more half hitches to go in the same direction. Some people teach going alternate directions. I completely disagree. You want to have even friction within that knot, and doing them the same direction gets better line contact. So there's 3. We're going to pull it tight. So crucial step. Do not cut the tag until you've locked these coils into place with tension. So what we're gonna do is wrap our hand around 3 times, because some thin braids will cut through your fingers. I'll get my shirt in front. And we're going to pull this knot until these coils dig into place. And you're gonna see the color of the line change once they dig in. And the last one to dig in is gonna be the coil closest to the lure. And once that one digs into place, you know this knot will never come undone. So I'm tightening it down. You can see they went from like a fairly dark green to a really dark green. These coils are now locked into place. They literally dug into the leader, and they're not going anywhere. And the fact that you have those coils evenly, this is the best knot that spreads that tension load across all these coils, which is why it's stronger than the other knots. Everything else relies on a sharp turn in the knot, and that's where the weak point is every time. As far as cutting the tag, I cut as close as I possibly can. Very helpful to have some braid cutting scissors like this. We sell these at Fish Strong, and they are absolutely amazing. I have like 10 of them. I always have one in my truck, in my boat, in the paddleboard, kayak. So get super close. Now we have no ridge. And then lastly, just to make sure that we don't have any hard edges from that leader, I'm gonna go back to a little bit of tension on the line, and we're gonna do 3 more half hitches, all go in the same direction. So there's 1, go around the line 2, And some people use the risotto twist at the end. Obviously that works. You can do more than 3. I think I just did 4. And last one, pull it fairly tight. Yeah, risotto hitch works, but there's no need to it. Those knots don't add really any security don't add any strength to the knot. It's all about just making sure that those coils don't get unwound. And those series of half hitches, I've thrown this knot for a very long time now, across multiple trips, even like 5 days in a row, and casting through the guides every cast, and I still have not had one come unwound when I follow that sequence. So as you can see, super thin knot, very clean looking, and shockingly strong. Obviously, if you're a guide who has clients who's breaking off every time, you obviously do not want to use this because it does take a while. But if you're a fish like a weekend warrior, and you want to make sure that you don't lose a fish of a lifetime due to simply not spending an extra 30 seconds to tie a knot, then I highly recommend taking some time to learn this FQ knot, because as I said before, it is stronger, and when you're casting through the guides, you don't even know that you have a knot going through. So those are the 4 main knots that we recommend all saltwater anglers take a little bit of time to use. And if you have any questions or any knots that we didn't include, please leave a comment down below. We always love to hear from you.
Any knot you can learn is valuable. Here's how I look at it. The best knot you could tie, out of even the knots we just showed you, name your knot the trust knot. That is a knot that you trust. That's what I tell my clients. They're like, what knot should I tie? I say the trust knot. Your trust knot could be a cinch knot. It could be a uni knot. It could be an FG knot. But you gotta find a knot that you trust, learn it quick, and it'll make your life so much better when it comes to fishing.
Yeah, and practice off the water as well. You don't want to be learning a knot while you're on the water and spending your valuable time on the water doing your knot. So learn it off the water, and when you're on the water and there's some fish feeding, you can tie it super fast and have a consistently strong knot. Yeah, consistently strong is the key. Yeah, so comment down below on this one if you want to see the 12 video lesson series that we have. We'll put a link down below as well.